Hello, welcome to RC Video Reviews. In this video, we're going to take a look at some brand new Express LRS modules by Radiomaster. Before we get started, I need to let you know this video is sponsored by Radiomaster, who sent these modules for review. They don't require me to say anything or have my videos pre-approved, so my opinions on this topic are my own. I'll also let you know that I have affiliate links in the description, so if you'd like to order any of these modules for yourself, please use my affiliate links in the description. That way the channel gets a little bit of a kickback and it doesn't cost you anything extra. All right, let's get started. Radiomaster just announced their lineup of external Express LRS modules, and they're called Ranger. You've got the Ranger Micro, and the Ranger Nano. We're going to cover all three in some detail. We'll take a look at the Ranger first. The Ranger comes in a CNC case. It's got LED lighting, an OLED screen, a couple of customizable function buttons, and a 5-way navigation button. The Ranger also ships with a Moxen antenna and a T antenna, just like on the Micro and the Nano. They've got this little nano adapter that you can screw onto the back, and that'll just plug into the radio. I've got the micro adapter installed because that's the radio I'm using it on right now. So these adapters just screw on the back with these 3 screw holes. Screw on the back, plug it into your radio, and you're good to go. In addition to the Moxen antenna, they also include a T antenna. It's the only one in the lineup that includes both. And in case you're wondering, the Moxen antenna is meant for distance, and it's got a more narrow beam width. So if you want to fly long distance, you'll probably use the Moxen antenna. And if you're flying local, you just use the T antenna. But the Ranger includes both, so you can choose which one works best for you. I also wanted to give a call out on the antenna. I really applaud Radiomaster for what they did with these antennas, because out of all of them, this is one of the ones that looks the most finished to me. This T antenna's got a nice plastic housing, which means you're not going to worry about damaging your active elements. It's got a very rigid base, so you can aim that antenna and it kind of stays where you want it to go. It doesn't just flop back over. It's a very finished product. In the antenna space for Express LRS, I think it's probably one of the nicer antennas I've ever seen. On the bottom of the Ranger is an XT30 connector for external power. There's also a little port that allows you to connect this wire they include in the box, and this wire allows you to connect the Ranger to certain supported Futaba radios. And there's also a USB-C port on the bottom in case you want to flash the module via USB. I'm told by Radiomaster there are no diff switch requirements inside the module, so if you want to flash via USB, the only thing you have to do is connect the cable, and you'll be able to flash with the Express LRS configurator. Next up is the Ranger Micro. This one's designed to fit in a standard JR bay. There's no adapter required. You simply drop it into that JR bay, make sure your pins are aligned, give it a little bit of a press, you get a nice click for effect, and it's locked in there. That's all you need. Also note, it really looks nice on the Radiomaster TX16S. It looks like it was designed to be part of the system all along. So I like the way the Micro fits and integrates with the radio right out of the box. The Micro only comes with a T antenna. It does not include a Moxen, although Radiomaster sells their Moxen separately, so you'll be able to order that and use a Moxen if you want. Here's a look at the adapter. There is a pin in the center there, so if you want to use your own antenna, you can do that as well. And the Micro also includes some LED lighting on the back that illuminates the Radiomaster logo. Finally, we've got the Ranger Nano. You've also got an XT30 connector on this one and a USB-C connector for updating the firmware. This one also comes with a T antenna, and it uses the same adapter up top. So if you want to source your own antenna or use the Moxen that Radiomaster sells separately, you can add that as well. The Ranger Nano has the connectors on the back that allow fitting to Nano-style adapter bays. Next, let's take a look at how they look in the radio. So I'm going to start out with the Ranger, and we'll plug that one in first. Remember, I've got the micro adapter already installed, so I'm just going to drop it in the JR bay and click it into place. Right off the bat, you notice these RGB strips light up on the sides. These LED buttons on the back are configurable both for color and function. So I went into the web UI and I set my buttons to be red and blue. And then when I press the red button, I have that set up to activate the Wi-Fi module. And then to back out of the Wi-Fi mode, you press left on the 5-button switch, and that'll back out. I have the blue button set to increment the power range. So right now I'm at 25 milliwatts. When I press the blue button, that'll increase it to 50 and then 100 and so on. So really nice little option to add some hardware functionality to the configuration of the Ranger module. You also get a lot of detail on this OLED screen. It shows you your packet rate, your telemetry rate, your power rate. The version information right now shows experimental. Don't worry about that. This is a pre-production release of software. By the time they ship, the correct version number should show on the screen as well. Overall, I like the way the Ranger looks. I like the CNC case. I like all the lights on the back. The OLED screen is kind of blingy. You can set the colors on the buttons to do whatever you want, and you can set the function to do what you want as well. There are limits, of course, to the function. You'll see a drop-down list that'll allow you to select certain things that are predefined, but the functionality is there to configure the buttons, and I think that's kind of cool. A couple of things I'm not impressed with on the module. When you lay it on the table, it doesn't rest on the handle anymore. It actually rests on the module, and that means it rocks and moves on the table. I don't really think that's going to be a problem for the module because it is a sturdy CNC case. Just be aware of that. For me, my OCD doesn't like that kind of thing. The other thing I noticed right away is the weight. When you pick this one up, it adds a significant amount of weight. We're going to cover that in just a little while when we get into the specs, but you do know you've got a CNC module on the back. I'll tell you that much. Next, we'll take a look at the Micro. This one's designed to fit into a JR bay. You just click it in after you line up the pins and off you go. And you see that during the boot process, the LEDs light up and cycle through, indicating that the radio is turning itself on. I definitely like the way the Micro integrates with the TX16S. It actually looks like it's part of the radio. It doesn't look like an add-on device. And then when you flip it over, because the module doesn't extend past the handle, you don't have that problem with the radio rocking on the table. So for me, this is the one I'll use day over day. And the reasons are because it's lighter, because while I like the OLED screens and all the buttons, that's kind of cool. In reality, once I've configured the radio, I really don't spend too much time touching those buttons on the back. I like how it integrates with the radio better. I like that it's lighter weight and it's got the same power output. So functionally, I believe that what really matters to me at the field, the operational concerns, I think the Micro is going to suit my needs a little better. Unfortunately, I can't show you what the Nano looks like inside the radio because I don't have a radio with a Nano adapter other than the Jumper T-Lite, and that adapter situation is terrible on that radio. So I just opted not to mess with it. But the bottom line is it connects onto the back, you slide it down, it locks into place, and the pins provide power. There's also some LEDs on the front that you'll see when you power it up, and of course the fan. So this is just kind of an add-on module. I think for the Nano style radios, it's always going to look like an add-on because it always extends past the back of the radio and it just kind of clips on the back. All right, let's get into some features and specs. Of course, on the Ranger, you've got the OLED display in a very rugged CNC case. It's got a built-in accelerometer, which is really cool because there's some things that the developers can do with that, like bump to transfer, and that's only on the Ranger. It also supports packet rates up to 1000 in that fast ELRS mode. It has output power up to 1 watt. It supports Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. It's got the 5-direction nav key and customizable buttons we talked about. It also comes with the Micro and Nano adapters. So if you need to move the module from one radio to the next, say you have a JR bay in your TX16S and a Nano bay on your Zorro, you can move the module from one radio to the next without having to buy 2 different transmitters. Again, the Moxon and T antenna are both included, and there's a CRSF cable for compatible Futaba radios. I'm not going to read the entire spec sheet for you guys. You can pause the video and read this information pretty much on your own. I'll just highlight some key points. It's got that 1000 hertz refresh rate, which is very cool. You do need Edge TX 2.7.1 or later for that. Keep that in mind. RF output power is limited to 30 dBm for FCC and 20 dBm for CE. Of course, that's adjustable by Lua script. It supports Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. Don't forget it's got that accelerometer. They're using an STK8 Bravo Alpha 58 MEMS accelerometer. It's got the built-in RGB strip, the XT30 power supply, which supports between 6 and 16 volts, so 2-cell to 4-cell. And regarding weight, I told you I'd mention this when I got into the spec sheet. Radio Master says it weighs 138 grams with the Moxon. I weighed it at 158 grams with the Moxon. Radio Master says it weighs 135 with the T antenna. Mine came in at 156. And Radio Master says 126 grams with no antenna. Mine came in at 146 grams with no antenna. On the Ranger Micro, it also supports up to 1 watt of power output. It's got Wi-Fi and Bluetooth support and packet rates up to 1000 hertz. Remember, this one only comes with a T antenna, so if your range requirements require a Moxon, you'll have to source that separately. On specifications, same deal as on the Ranger. I'm not going to read the list to you. You can pause the video if you want to read every item. I'll just point out the big ones. You've got that 1000 hertz packet rate. Power output is limited to 30 dBm for FCC and 20 dBm for CE. The power supply voltage on the bottom is the same as the Ranger, 6 to 16 volts, so 2S to 4S. Regarding weight, Radio Master says it weighs 50 grams with an antenna and 40.5 without. I measured it at 53 and 43. So just a little bit heavier, but it's close. Finally, we've got the Ranger Nano. This one supports Wi-Fi and Bluetooth as well. It's got packet rates up to 1000 hertz and it provides 1 watt of power output. Remember, this one also only includes the T antenna, so if your range requirements require a Moxon, you'll have to source that separately. And then on the back, you've got the Nano connector and it supports radios like the Zorro. Same deal on the specs. The big numbers are the 1000 hertz packet rate, the minimum refresh rate of 25 hertz, 30 dBm output power for FCC, 20 dBm for CE. It's got Wi-Fi and Bluetooth support and the same input voltages as the other two. Regarding weight, this one measured spot on. The Radiomaster says 38 grams with an antenna, 39 grams without. I measured the same, 48 and 38. I can't tell you guys how happy I am to see Radiomaster in the Express LRS hardware business. I like the Ranger for that CNC look, the lights, the buttons, the nav button, the OLED screen. A lot of bling on that one. It's kind of cool, very heavy duty feeling. So remember, if you like that CMC form factor and all the lights and buttons and the OLED screen and you want to move from one radio to the next, the Ranger is the one for you. If you've only got one radio that's got a JR Bay and you don't really care about the CNC, lights, button, and screen and all the bling that comes with the Ranger, or if you don't need to move from one radio to another style, like the JR Bay to the Nano Bay, then you probably want to consider the Micro. This is the one I'll be flying in my daily driver. Remember, it comes with a T antenna and it's got the same features in terms of power output and connectivity as the Ranger. The only thing missing on this one is that Futaba plug, but you don't need that if you're in a JR Bay. I think the use case for the Ranger Nano is pretty self-evident. If you've got a Nano connector on the back of your radio and you're looking to save weight, you don't want to put a big module like the Ranger on the back, then the Nano is the one for you. A couple more quick notes before we wrap this video up. Radiomaster also sent me the RP3 receiver. This is a dual antenna receiver. It's not a true diversity receiver, so it doesn't have two diverse receiver modules. It's got diverse antennas. So I will be trying this out on an upcoming build soon. The one thing I'll point out about this one regarding the feature set is that it only supports 5 volts in. So just keep that in mind for your builds. If you have a higher voltage requirement, 5 volts in is the max on this receiver. That wraps up my first look at the brand new Ranger Express LRS module lineup by Radiomaster. I want to remind you, if you found this video useful, please consider giving me a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you know when new videos hit the channel. That's all I've got for today. Take it easy and get out there and fly something. Hey, if you like the work I do here on RC Video Reviews, please consider joining me on Patreon. For about the price of a cup of coffee, you can help me keep making videos just like this one. If you'd like to help out, there's a link in the description and on your screen.